So what do these terms mean for you, right? And how is this vibe coding different from the traditional pair programming that in agile we normally do pair programming, or how is it different from using a low coding tool or a code generation tool, if you can shed some light on it?
Sure, Ramana. I think we've always had code generators in the past 3 decades of some form or fashion, right? They have changed a lot over a period of time, especially in the last 10 years. When we look at tools like Ruby on Rails, for example, it could generate scaffolding very, very quickly, scaffolded code very, very quickly. When we look at JHipster, when we look at NoCodeDB, a low-code platform, or many other such platforms, they've all been productivity boosters. They've immensely helped ideate faster. However, when
Yeah.
we look at what is happening right now, I see um, this like this. Vibe coding is essentially where you give a prompt, ask the tool to generate some code, replicate to a certain degree. Vibe coding platforms like Lovable come to my mind. But coding assistants go one step beyond, right? They have abilities to help you plan, abilities to critique your ideas, and often they have agentic abilities. They can do multi-step processing of your coding exercise using various tools that are fit for purpose. However, I also see that there is a spectrum of skills that are evolving very rapidly. When we talk about software engineering as a domain, we normally think in terms of programmers, developers, designers, and architects. And
Hmm.
I believe that vibe coding is something that matches the programmers. But when we get to kind of you know product development, project development, a little bit more rigorous kind of work, where enterprise workloads are to be addressed, we may
Yeah.
get to a state where you need really engineered prompts. And you may have to engineer the context in which the prompt operates. What happens before the prompt is executed, what happens after that. That's context
Mm.
engineering in my mind. And then
Hmm.
lastly, you would have to think through on all the systems and architecture and the data flows and the security, the computational
Mm.
thinking that's needed. So in that sense, vibe coding, coding assistants, and agentic tools out there do have capabilities to address every phase of the SDLC, but more
Hmm.
often right now the usage seems to be focused on the first few phases, like programming and developing the solution a little bit more than just the programs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, right? I think the way I'm really seeing when I talk to my kids or somebody outside of the IT industry, I say vibe coding is what takes you from 0 to 1. Simply, okay, I have an idea, I just want to see how it works, vibe coding. Then you take a little bit further. If you have a junior developer, probably give them like a coding assistant tool, like a GitHub Copilot or something, where they at least can ask the first few questions and see what is the code and everything. And then comes the full blown agentic coding, where you are literally giving some tasks and then giving requirements, which is more for senior people that know how to actually drive the agentic coding process. That's how I've explained, at least to myself. Satish, what do you think about this?
I think in the current state, why this is getting so popular is because LLMs are extremely good in following instructions and they are extremely good in handling tools. So
Hmm.
now you have a powerful combination that can follow your instruction and use tools to get work done, right? Which is the concept or idea behind vibe coding is you have a vision and then you express your vision as instructions and you give a set of tools and let the coding agents go and execute it for you, right? So in
Hmm.
that way, it is truly a pair programmer where it is you can call it as a junior developer or an architect, but it follows your instructions to get the work done. But I think eventually it's getting to a point where you could just give it a problem, let it go and solve it for you. That's where I think the industry is evolving towards. But in today's
Yeah.
sense, I think it's still very powerful where I can use a coding assistant to get to quickly go from an ideation to a prototype, and once my
Hmm.
prototype is successful, I put some scaffolding around it and make it production ready.